Welcome to PushMower Repair. Today we're going to be going over how to replace a carburetor on a 3.5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton engine. The tools you'll need is a flathead screwdriver, a needle nose pliers, and some socket wrenches. You'll need an 8mm, a 10mm and a 13, and also some brake or part cleaner. So begin by removing this flathead screw here, and then removing the air filter. It has some clips on the bottom. Next you get your 8mm socket. Remove these three. Once they're removed, this plate will pull off. You have to watch out not to lose this rubber piece. Then you can get your 10mm socket, and there's two bolts holding the carburetor on. There's one in here, one in there, and one on the other side. Once these bolts are out, this throttle linkage is connected, and so you turn the carburetor like this, sideways, and just slide it off. Okay, and then you'll need to disconnect the fuel hose as well. If there's fuel in your petrol tank, it'll be best to lift it up high, undo it up here. Then once you've got it up high, you have to find some way to keep it there so the fuel doesn't all come out. So when you take the carburetor off, be careful not to lose this rubber seal, as without the seal the carburetor won't function. There'll be an air leak in your system. Okay, so we want to clean up and inspect this carby to see if maybe we can service it or if we have to replace it. I'm going to use some just part cleaner. And my air compressor to clean it up a bit. Just so we're not working with something too dirty. And then we have to remove the float and the bowl, which is at the bottom. So we go to this bottom bolt, we get our socket on it, and if your mower's been full of petrol is going to come out because it'll be full. And then you should have a bolt and a washer. And this bolt and washer should be clean. This one's got a bit of green stuff all in it, a bit blocked up. This hole has to have no blockages. Okay, and then in the float, the bowl should come off, and there should be no dirt in the bottom. You can see in this one there's a lot of gunge and hard, crusty green stuff that you can't really get off. So this one's not looking very good at the moment. And then if we look at the rest of the carburetor, it should have a rubber seal here, which on this one is intact and seems alright. It should have the float, and in the float there should be a needle. It's kind of hard to see, but on this carby we'll take it off, use our needle nose pliers to grab this pin, take that pin out, the float comes out, and here is the needle I was talking about. And you can see this one, it's all covered in green, gooey gunk. It's all in through the holes. And so for me this one's too wrecked for me to try and service. If it's just a little bit dirty, there's a little bit of dirt in there, you can blow it out and clean it. But this one, it's really bad. You'd have to clean it really hard to get it to work well again. Over here I've got another carburetor. That's a second-hand one. They've taken off another mower. If we take this bolt out the bottom, can see this one is really nice. It's all clean, there's no green, no dirt, and at the bottom of the bowl you have this one, we have that one. It's nasty and this one's very good. And so if yours doesn't look like this, it's likely that you need a new carburetor. But if it does, you just give it a clean, you can put it back together. Make sure the pin and the needle are in there. Put the bowl on, and your bolt with the washer goes in the bottom. When putting the carburetor on, we want to make sure the throttle is on the full forward position. So this tab here sits behind the choke, because if that tab's sitting in front of the choke, then the choke won't function properly, and this part here will not turn when it should. Once your carburetor is cleaned, you can put your fuel hose back on. Just push it on there, like so. It can be quite tight. Make sure it's on there well. Want to get the throttle linkage, put it in here. And then next is your 2 bolts. Once the carburetor's bolted into the engine, you grab your plate, and there should be a gasket. Looks something like this that came with it. As long as it's not ripped, it's good to go. You put that on your carburetor, and then you put this metal thing there as well. But this rubber goes into this pipe under here. You see that pipe? The rubber at the back connects onto there. Next, once the gasket's in position, we have to put the 3 bolts back in to secure the metal plate. Then we get our air filter, make sure the screw's in there. We put the clips at the bottom in these 3 holes, just like that. Do up the Phillips head screw. We're finished.